Let's go. Yo. Get up, nah, I ain't a quitter. Toss me the ball, I'm a really big hitter. Big picture, I'm a straight killer. Rising the song to the highest bidder. Got juice, got gas, I'ma move fast. New shoes, new tracks, like who's that? I'm new, come back, better than last. Yeah, it's a new me, never gonna look back. Never gonna look back. Cause damn, I was built to last. You move slow and I move fast. And that's facts.
Chicago, it's time to wake up and smell the coffee. We're on fire with Coffee with Trex, where we're here to deep dive into the life and times of Ben Johnson, the Bears' new head coach. I'm Brendan Trex Hyatt, and I'm here with Chris Brown. And we're not just sipping coffee, folks. We're chugging this energy, drink of show straight to the top. Let's go. Let's roll back the clock to where it all began for Ben Johnson. Born in Charleston, South Carolina, this guy was destined for greatness. He wasn't your typical high school star. He was the quarterback at AC Reynolds High, leading them to a state championship. But college, that's where he truly shined. College days, Johnson walked on at the University of North Carolina in 2004, playing quarterback without a scholarship. His grit and determination saw him to climb from a walk-on to third on the depth chart by his junior year. It's here where we see the seeds of his coaching philosophy: hard work, resilience, and unyielding desire to succeed. After college, he didn't jump straight into the NFL. He started at the bottom at a graduate assistant at Boston College in 2009. There, he learned the ropes under coaches like Frank Speziani, absorbing every bit of knowledge that he could possibly get, setting the stage for his future in coaching. Here's where his NFL things start getting really interesting. We're about to bring Chris in right now. I'm about to tag him in. His NFL entry, his professional coaching career, kicked off with the Miami Dolphins in 2012 as an offensive assistant. This was his boot camp, where he worked under Joe Philbin and Adam Gase, learning from some of the best offensive minds in the game. Johnson's versatility was evident as he coached quarterbacks, tight ends, and receivers, learning the intricacies of each position. What do you think about that, man? That's very interesting right there. A lot to unpack. Philbin and Adam Gase. What are your thoughts immediately?
My thoughts immediately is on the offensive production and how they prepare their offenses to go on a day to day. When you bring in a guy that was coaching tight ends, wide receivers, and the quarterback, you also bring in a guy that knows how to design a passing game plan when it comes to executing the passing game. And we've seen it evident when it comes to the production that he has brought when it went on the Detroit Lions coaching staff.
Well, I tell you what, too. He's got Antoine Randall over there, and we don't want to get off track with Trex and Chris, but I mean, to the point of that guy is pretty much like, you want to talk about a blueprint or like a spit and mirror view image of Ben Johnson himself. Antoine Randall fits the bill of exactly what he was in Miami, right?
Exactly. And then on top of that, he is also a product of that creativity because he didn't really come into the NFL as a wide receiver. He was actually having college film as a quarterback in Indiana. And his time in Pittsburgh, they actually used him in creative ways to generate offensive production. So that also Antoine Randall L also brings that to the table. And when you have a Ben Johnson's offense, creativity is one of the things you're going to see week after week.
Well, and I had a guy on our show a few weeks ago, and he played defensive line. Henry Melton. He was a running back in Texas. He did it all, baby. And I mean, there's guys out there like this. And Lovie Smith, he unlocked them and moved them around, and he applauds Lovie, and he owes Lovie a lot of gratitude, and a lot of people actually Really nice guy. Love Henry, man. I can't wait to work with him again. But I mean, this is the type of stuff that I'm talking about that you need, because maybe people are at a position, maybe with the right eyes, we can unlock some things that are already there. Listen, everybody in the room's an NFL player, right? It takes a special man, it takes a special leader to find out and cultivate those special gifts that each and every one of them have. And I think when you look at a guy like Ben Johnson, when you look at a guy like, Antoine Randall, guys like that, I mean, they really, because they've been there, done that. So they understand that, hey, I need to pay it forward. I need to try to unlock. And it's almost like your mind's already shaped and you're already there. You know what I'm saying, Chris?
I know exactly what you're trying to say. It's just you have guys that's been there, done that, and you also have a creative mind. And when you bring those all together, both of them know how to get the best out of these wide receivers, how to get the best out of the quarterback, how to get the best out of the tight end. That magnifies the proficiency of the offense, because of the fact that, okay, the coach and the offensive coordinator and the wide receiver coach knows what the quarterback's going to be looking at in certain zone coverages. And then you
Yeah.
can design passing plays. You can design a whole passing package where you can just literally just dice up defenses. You can have man beaters, and you can just basically find spaces in the zones. No matter what they throw at you, you could develop a counter right on the fly.
Yeah, and that's what's important, is reading and reacting. And I think a guy like, he's still in his 30s, his late 30s. He hasn't been too far removed from being a player himself. Not saying that if you're a guy on the other end of it, because I was a big fan of looking at Pete Carroll. I still am. I think whoever gets him, and whether it be the Raiders or whoever, they're going to get a good guy that's going to, be pretty much a guy that's going to come in, build a foundation. He's going to be an architect, and I think he will be a senior, advisor after the fact to make sure that everything is in place and whatever. But with Ben Johnson, he hasn't been that far removed from being a player, boots on the ground. He still understands what it's like. So he can be right there with these players and be like, hey, I'm not that, older than you are, guys. So I know what it's like to not be utilized in Cole Kmet or even a backup tight end or whatever, where now we've got a backup freaking center running the ball in and dropping it on the goal line and all this kind of stuff. And I remember what it's like to kind of talk to the fans and not stay focused, when we're getting a Hail Mary, because it feels like the game's over, but hey, it's not. So let's call a timeout. All these kind of things that Ben Johnson can be a part of and be like, no, 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 no. I still remember I'm not that far removed from being a player. So you see it more vividly, more fresh, if you know what I'm saying.
I know exactly what you're saying. When you look at the play calling, when you see how much love that offense and that team has for him, just as a coach and as a person, you could just see the creativity, how he can just literally get the best out of his guys. And when you have a coach like that that designs his system around what his players do best, that
Yeah.
is a better recipe for success, rather than trying to have a player and design him based on your system. When you have a system that can morph into anything that it needs to be successful, that's just the best thing you can have for an offense. Because no matter who's in the game, you already know what that player can do, what he's best at, and where his weaknesses are. So you know, I need to do these certain things to get this guy to be an impact on this team.
Absolutely, absolutely. Like I said, we are so glad that he had an early, his architects were Philbin and Adam Gase. This is really good. Now let's talk into the rise in Detroit. Fast forward to 2019 and the fast forward time machine, guys. Johnson joins the Detroit Lions as an offensive quality control coach under Matt Patricia. Whoa. When Patricia was out and Dan Campbell took over, Johnson didn't just strive the regime change. He thrived in it, man. He wasn't a survivor. He was a thriver, baby. He got promoted to tight ends coach in 2020. I mean, he had a very similar but different situation than our boy Thomas Brown did, if you know what I'm saying. Sometimes it works, and sometimes it's a craptastic shit show, if you know what I'm saying. And I think wherever Thomas Brown goes, I think he's going to do good. I just think you cannot see when we're breaking this down. Promoted to tight ends coach in 2020, then passing game coordinator in 2021, and finally in 2022 he was named offensive coordinator. It took legit 3 years for him to get from tight ends coach to offensive coordinator. Now, in a lot of people's minds, that is fast in of itself. But with the Bears, instead of 3 years, they did it in like fucking 3 minutes. Pardon my French, bro. But I mean, like, it just was like crazy fast, dude. I like, sometimes you just can't, edit out certain words when it's like super hyper fast, man. Unbelievable. And, that is the offensive coordinator position in 2022 is where he legit made his mark. Now you're looking at 2025 now, and 3 years later and some change, and we're like, holy cow, man, this guy's a mastermind. I mean, you saw on that show with the St. Browns, oh my God, he was gushing, bro. He was blushing. I don't know how you could see, how you couldn't see that he was just like, and did he know? Like, I felt like he knew because listen, they didn't even entertain a second interview. Like, legit, whatever Caleb showed us, like, he's probably got like the worst poker face, dog. He ain't got it. You know what I mean? He's losing his ass in cards, bro. that dude knew.
Man,
That dude
like
knew that
I
Ben was
would be
coming, right?
excited to have a guy like that. Just
Yeah,
thinking about, just looking at the resume. When you
yeah,
look at the resume, it just gets you excited to even be in that room where and just be on the field and just he brings his game plan over here. Man,
yeah.
yeah, I'll be up super early just to get to the building. If this is what we're gonna have getting ready. If you need me to be at the building at 5, I'll give you 4:45. Even on the great day, I give you 4:30. No matter what you need, as long as this offense gonna be
Bro,
moving the way you have it. Oh yeah, I'm ready to
bro,
go.
you got your mouthpiece on, your cleats, your freaking football in your hand, and we're in the classroom for film day. Like, what are you doing, bro?
I'd wake up in my shoulder pad and my cleats.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man. So let's talk some numbers, man. Hey, everybody, thank you for hopping in the chat. You guys are live, man. So I just want to give a special shout out to Darius, man. D Nice. He broke the news yesterday at 2:30. Our boy D Nice, boots on the ground. I asked him to get on at 2:30. We had some news we had to get out at 2:35. The world knew about it and set his hair on fire, man. We had to just kind of like see what he could do in that moment, dude. And he just shined, man. He thrived. He did great. And then we got the immediate reaction from all you guys, and our community was just so elated, so excited. I know a few of you guys are not excited. I know you guys wanted other head coaches, but listen, there could be a lot worse options out there. We were interviewing everybody and their mama. I mean, it was getting crazy. Not saying we didn't need to do it, but like you guys know, there's a lot worse options. So hang on tight because we're still trying to give you guys Ben Johnson's defense. We are going to provide all this information for you because a lot of times, especially when a guy is on an opposing team, we already got like those bad vibes, like, oh, they're the enemy, bad guy, you. This guy is now on our side. He ain't the enemy, and he's got everything we need to know about the enemy. So, I mean, things are looking pretty good over here. Let's break down some numbers, guys. Leave your comments in the chat. Hit that subscribe button. Thank you for your guys' views. We're going to get to you. I assure you, Chris and I will get to every one of your comments. So hang out till after the show. Let's break down some of Ben Johnson's numbers because the numbers don't lie with the lines when it comes down to Ben Johnson's play and his offensive explosion. Under Johnson's leadership, the Lions offense ranked in the top 5 in scoring, total yards, and efficiency. In 2024, They led the league with 564 points. 564 points scored, setting a new franchise record, never been done before. They hit 30 points in 10 games, 40 points in 6 games, and even 50 points twice, guys. I'm sure it took us 50 games to score 50 points at some point, but that's unheard of in recent Lions history, guys. And hey, listen, let's talk about Jared Goff, because Jared Goff was off of a lot of people's radars, man. Okay. It wasn't Jared Goff that they were as excited about. It was the hole that they got for freaking Stafford. Jared Goff was like an additional piece. It wasn't like, oh man, let's set the world on fire bringing in Jared Goff. It was everything that you got. So listen, it's like getting that cheap cheeseburger at McDonald's, but now you're getting the supersized fry. Now you're getting a strawberry milkshake or a tall, cold, Coca-Cola that's you could hear it popping and stuff. And what about a hot apple pie? All that stuff. Now you're cooking with Trex. Now you're like, oh baby, this is a freaking meal. But just the burger alone, maybe I'll pass. I'm telling you right now, Jared Goff, hey, Chris, am I wrong? Was Jared Goff somebody you got excited about before Ben Johnson got a hold of him, brother?
Well, let's just keep it a buck, and that's how I try to roll. When the Rams traded Jared Goff to the Lions, they thought that the Lions was going to be the Lions of old. They sent Jared Goff there to decline, but instead he rose with Ben Johnson. He rose from them ashes, and he was molded into this quarterback to where he can use his resiliency, and then with the play calling of Ben Johnson, it just brought out all the things that they saw in him as a first round pick. And so when you look at just what he's done these past 2 years, no one really could say when he got traded to Detroit that, hey, if you told me 2 years ago Jared Goff would be in the MVP conversation come midseason, people would be laughing at you. They'd be like, what? Ain't no way, man. Stop it. Stop it. That's funny. That's hilarious. But then you
Yeah,
see it this year. The man had a perfect game. He had a perfect game. Completion percentage. Like,
dude.
when do you really see that? And when
Yeah.
you look at the film, a lot of it has to do with the play calling. And all he has to do is just execute his part, which is get the ball to the open receiver.
Well, listen, we are not graphic experts by any means. Editing is not our strong suit. I wish we could roll out some videos. Maybe Chris and I will collaborate and try to figure out how to do that. But if we did, we would woo you with some highlights, and you'd be like, "That's Jared Goff. What the hell?" So listen, we are going to unpack some numbers, okay? And these numbers are pretty freaking cool. Uh, let's talk about Jared Goff's renaissance, man. Johnson turned Jared Goff from a former Super Bowl participant thought to be on the decline into one of the league's top quarterbacks. Under Johnson, Goff had 4,629 passing yards. That's just one season. 37 touchdowns and a 72.4% completion rating, and a career best QBR of 68.5 just in 2024. That's 1 year. That's one freaking year. Oh my. Oh my. That's 1,000 more yards. And what? Let's see, 20, 16 more touchdowns than Caleb. Now we're comparing a rookie to a veteran, okay? Like, let's not get it twisted. There is a learning curve here. I'm just saying, like, let's like you said, I'm gonna use your term, keep it a buck. This is not Goff numbers when you think about Goff, bro. This is not freaking Goff numbers. But let's talk about young talent flourishing. We're not even talking about just the quarterback, guys. We're talking about other players on the team. And this doesn't happen everywhere. You get a first round guy, okay, sure, great. But how can you get multiple players on the team to flourish? Like, let's keep it a buck. The guy on the right side, Darnell Wright. That's it. That's the offensive line. That's the one guy that flourished. This guy got everybody. Listen, Amon Ross St. Brown, a 4th-round pick. He became a star, finishing in the top 5 in receptions, yards, and touchdowns for 2 seasons straight. Not one, but 2, man. And all the guys I used to play spades with when I was in the Navy, they always told me, they're like, all right, Trax, listen, you won the first time, that's luck. You won the second time, you might be all right. You know what I mean? So he went back to back, dude, back to back champ, Listen, rookie tight end Sam Laporta broke records. He broke records, dude. Sam Laporta. And running back Jahmyr Gibbs, oh my gosh, I'm about ready to gush. He was on my fantasy football, and I ended up getting second place with that guy in my fantasy football. That guy is freaking amazing. If there's a guy out there, please stop me and let me know where he's at, because I'm telling Ben Johnson to go ahead and sign that freaking guy right now, because if he can duplicate what he did with Jahmyr Gibbs, with another guy in college, hey man, come on to Chicago, right? What do you got to say, bro?
Well, I got another record that was broken when Ben Johnson was the offensive coordinator for the Browns. See, many people have forgotten about the Swag Kazakage, Jamal Williams himself. He actually broke the rushing touchdown record that was held by the Hall of Famer Barry Sanders. So he actually played a part in that as well. And then on top of that, this is what happens, and you just need to understand this. Just breathe it in. You know what I'm saying? It's a beautiful day. This is what happens when you have a wizard of offense as your offensive coordinator. When you look at an Amon-Ra St. Brown, he doesn't have him running deep routes majority of the time. No. What is he doing? He has him attacking the zones. Sam Laporta, using his speed and his size just to get him in the best positions where the Goff can put the ball on the top shelf, but the little kids can't get it. Like these are the things that you need when it comes to a play caller. And you just see it. Jahmyr Gibbs, how he uses him out of the shotgun. And when he uses David Montgomery, he uses him right up the gut just to show physicality on the defense over and over and over again. It's all these things that just come together. It's like literally watching someone make a perfect full course meal. That's how that is. You see how he makes the steak. Oh, the steak looks beautiful. Yeah, watch out how smooth the mashed potatoes is. Okay, yeah, the mashed potatoes look good. Let me drizzle a little gravy on it. Now you got the vegetables, you got everything, the plate set. All you gotta do is just take in the aroma of what this beautiful thing that's gonna be produced here in Chicago.
I'll tell you what, man, you're right. And it's just like the gravy, man. You talk about explosiveness in your mouth. This efficiency is ridiculous. We are going to have a lot of fun. I mean, when you look at terms of like the receivers that we had, 3 guys, 700 yards, all this stuff, like you said earlier, somebody said in the chat, we're going to get to the chat. Shout out to the chat. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button if you're a new time viewer. Thank you for your views. We appreciate you so much. We're going to get to you in a little bit. As you can see at the top of the screen, I'm your boy, Brandon Trax Hyatt, the founder of Chicago Sports Podcast. I'm in the pit, and my boy Chris Brown is in the palace. I'm in the garage. You can see my breath. I'm Chicagoland. This he's like in a high rise in California or something, man. I don't know where you're at, but it looks good back there, bro.
I ain't got it like that. I ain't got it like that. You see where my fingers is at. This is all just,
Oh, I hear you. Oh, we're just having fun with it.
But I don't have a pool. I don't swim well.
We appreciate you guys. We appreciate you guys. So hang on tight, because we're going to get into the coaching philosophy now. The coaching philosophy. Hold on a second. Get the space heater a little closer to my toes. They're starting to freeze right now. It is literally like -3 degrees with the wind chill of 30 below here in Chicago. It is cold, man. I got another heater coming Friday, so don't worry about your good boy Trax. If I can make it through today, we can make it through all winter. We got so much information. You guys are like, why isn't this guy in the house? Did he get thrown out of his house? Is he in his garage? Listen, I am so loud, I wake everybody up. So out of respect for my family, I'm bringing it into the garage. So, because this is like, I ain't doing a Roman Catholic podcast. I'm full on Pentecostal, bro. I'm bringing the passion, I'm bringing the energy. And, and that's why I had to get Chris Brown on here because this is amazing. And this guy right here, you want to talk about being not just a survivor, this dude's a thriver. He's came on early and he's blossoming into a wonderful podcaster. We're so excited to have him. And so let's break down some more information, getting back on track with the coaching philosophy. What makes Johnson tick? It's his philosophy is like a high octane engine, man. His aggressive play calling. That's what we need. We need aggressiveness. Johnson isn't afraid to go for it on fourth down. With the Lions attempting 110 conversions. That's freaking bananas, dude. Second most in the league since he took over. Second most in the league. So even if we're not the second most, there's no way we hire this guy and then put handcuffs on him and be like dead last. I just can't see it happening at all, man. It's all about pushing the limits and trusting your players. That's what he does. He trusts his players and he pushes the limits. Do you agree with that?
I definitely agree about it, but it also comes to just knowing who you got and what they can do. And another thing that shows when it comes to Ben Johnson is that creativity. Like let's just go back a little bit and into this season where
Yep.
Jared
See
Goff
a plank. See a
trips.
plank. Oh, 1 second. I had to talk to one of our MVPs. He's getting ready to leave. He's here for every show, man. I had to jump in there really quick. I appreciate you, Plank, so much for checking in, man. He's there all the time, man. He's one of our most dedicated members. All right, continue. I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's all good. It's all good. Thank you, Plank. You know what I'm saying? I really appreciate that. But when we go back to looking into the season with Ben Johnson, when Jared Goff tripped and was trying to hand the ball off to David Montgomery, what did we see next week? We see a trick play where Jared Goff trips on purpose, Jameer Gibbs trips on purpose, but it's a trick play throwing the ball down the field to a Sam Laporta for a touchdown. This is the things that you see from Ben Johnson is this feeling of he's not really content with just his playbook being the way it is right now. I'm going to add new wrinkles. I'm going to add a new play. I'm going to throw something at you that you never seen before on film. It just builds so much excitement because it's like this guy's not satisfied with giving defensive coordinators headaches the whole week they're preparing for him.
No, yeah, absolutely. And his adaptability, that's something that we appreciate and we're going to talk about. And it kind of ties in with what you're saying. He doesn't stick to a single playbook, he evolves with his team. So potentially, listen, guys, I think he can still bring out a lot of Swifty and Swift. Okay. I think he can really utilize this guy. I know he can. He's been with them. And here's the deal this draft is full, exploding with talent as far as running back. So, yeah, I agree with you guys. We don't have to get after Genty, but I'm saying a guy like him in the draft, there's plenty to go for. Do we all agree we need an offensive line? Absolutely. And I'm sure Ben Johnson would too. Trust your boy Trax is not the new OC. Ben Johnson is. He's going to get it right. Okay. We're just saying, I'm just saying, I'm not putting words in Chris's mouth, but it would be really nice to have a guy that looks like Jamar Gibbs back there doing what he does because we've seen what he has been able to do for the Detroit Lions under the Ben Johnson watch. That's all I'm saying. So, I don't want to spend much time on that. I just seen it going off on the chat and everybody's like, Trax, what are you doing? What are you doing? It's just hypotheticals. That's all.
I had a random thought just now. And since you see a guy like DeAndre Swift, he is more of an elusive back, but he can run in between the tackles from time to time. There's a way you can kind of rebuild a Sonic and Knuckles and type of thing in Chicago. What about a Cam Scatterboot, a guy that just punishes tacklers when he runs the ball? That type of thing can really be something that we could look forward to if it was to happen. I'm not saying that's something that's best. I'm just saying it'd be pretty cool. But that's just me.
Oh yeah, I would definitely like Knuckles and Scattaboo. The only problem is with Scattaboo, as hard as he runs, Knuckles done hit his head a couple times and he's already got a couple concussed. So they might be kind of
Mhm.
like worried about that with the Rashawn Johnson and the freaking, you know, what do you call it? He's got on his head. So, but
The
I
crown,
agree with you.
yeah,
We're looking at the Guardian helmet,
yeah.
and so I agree with you. There's plenty. I like that running back from the Wolverines. I think he'd be a good one in there, with Swift. You know what I mean? Change of pace. But I agree with you. Let's get some Sonic and Knuckles in the building for sure. Like I said, he doesn't stick to Ben Johnson doesn't stick to a single playbook. He evolves with his team, tailoring his strategies to the strength of his players. This was evident in how he capitalized on Goff's abilities, crafting plays that play to his strengths, all that kind of stuff. I really like his adaptability. I think it's important. He quickly shifted gears with Goff. It looked good. It looked seamless. It made sense. It was like he was there from the very beginning and he hit the ground running, man. And I think this is going to be good. And I think that's why he's really excited to work with Caleb. He's like, oh my gosh, like this is great. Are you kidding me? I went from Goff to freaking Caleb. Whoa. So let's talk about player development. Player development is really important. Players can come as stars, right? And sometimes here's a famous saying that I love. Hard work beats talent when talent don't work hard. There's some hard workers in the room that they can freaking, move mountains if empowered and given the right thing. And when you can learn what it takes to unlock people's greatness, that is a definition of a real head coach. Because honestly, or a coach in general, because honestly, if they come to you as a talent, you ain't done nothing. They were already there in front of you. But it's what you can unleash, what you can unlock, what you can help them bring out the best in those people, what, inspire and help them thrive and everything. And I believe Johnson is able to help grow the talent from within the person. He's not just a coach, he's a teacher, seeing potential where others might not see that potential. His work with young players like St. Brown and Laporta shows a coach who invests in the future. Would you agree with that?
So I definitely agree, and what we see is we see these young players, they grow and they grow. They've actually grown pretty fast over these years where he was taking over as the offensive coordinator. I don't think anybody really seen Sam Laporta coming when he came out his rookie season and just showed off as a tight at the tight end position. It's just when you have a guy that can actually understand from a player level that this is what I can do. These are the things I can be better at. And you're able to teach those things and get that player to produce even higher than what a
Yep.
lot of fans see them as from a potential standpoint. That just shows that's a perfect example of great coaching. Like great coaching is something, it's something that's not really appreciated as much in the NFL when it comes to production of these players and the stars that blossom in the NFL that we didn't see coming.
Oh yeah, I agree. Hey, listen, Barrelismo, man. Shout out to Barrelismo. He's giving us some news, and he's pretty straightforward, dude. He's saying looks like the Giants are high in Aaron Glenn. That's interesting. That's a good take, man. I could see that working out there. They really need somebody that's got some fiery, uh, charisma and all of that, and just one of those type of leaders. They need a guy in there just to just get them, pumped up and motivated. And I like Glenn. I like Aaron Glenn for sure. I hope it works out for him. Um, Somebody said, did the Giants fire D-ball? To my knowledge, they didn't fire. Wait, did they keep the D? Yeah, they kept the GM, or did they fire the GM and keep the head coach? I can't
The
remember.
the GM's still there.
Oh,
I don't think
oh, he
Dabble's
said the
there.
Jets, not the Giants. So
Oh,
that's
yeah, because they let go of Robert Saleh. That's right.
yeah, they're changed. They're so he. I think he meant. It's developing right now. We don't know for sure. They're working it out in the chat. But I think when he said Giants, he meant the Jets. We're waiting to see back from from Barrelismo, but Barrelismo's pretty solid dude, man. He gets a lot of good information. You could find him on Twitter, XApp, whatever. Good dude, man. Good follower. Love him, man. So, anyways, yeah, yeah, man. I agree. Development is crucial. It's very important. The growing the talent within and empowering people. I think it's really important. But hey, Chris, what do you got to say about his playbook? Oh my God, talk about bananas, huh? It's not just a freaking screen pass and simple plays. I mean, his playbook is full of wrinkles and counters. Think of the Lions' trick plays and the number of non-skill positions, player catching passes. Johnson's offense is unpredictable, keeping defenses on their toes. I mean, what do you got to say about his freaking playbook, bro?
It gives defensive players and defensive coordinators nightmares. He attacks every part of the field. He attacks every part of the field in different type of ways. You've seen screens, RPOs, you even seen trick plays. Like it was a pitch to David Montgomery that turned into a shovel pass for Amon Ra to run for a big gain. It's those type of plays, and it's also just the way he builds his passing game, how he keeps the offense on schedule with the right time to run the ball in certain situations with the right back and these type of things. It makes a quarterback's life easier, like someone said in the chat, but it also at the same time it makes a defense's job harder because you can't key on what the offense is trying to do. You think it's going to be a deep pass? No, we got a bubble screen set up that you're already back in deep coverage, and now we're getting a big gain out of it. Our offense is on schedule. Our offense is on second and fives, going to third and twos, and now you don't know what we're gonna do. We can run the ball, pass the ball, pick your poison. We got something for you.
Oh, absolutely, man. I agree. And you know what? I love your vivid detail about all of that. It's really important to remember those key moments and everything that happens and transpires because listen, a lot of people have not really give you know what? You got like that PTSD, and we just use that term loosely, and don't really, but here's the deal. When you're playing your enemy in terms of like getting your butt whooped, you don't really look at vivid detail like that. And it's important because we're talking about, the X's and O's and his playbook. It's ridiculous and it's relentless. And hey, listen, I'm not saying let's bring him back. Please don't shoot tracks. But what I will say is this guy could figure out a way to make Velus Jones look good. He definitely could turn. There might be a few plays in the playbook. He might have to uh, dig and go deeper, dive a little deeper into that playbook, but he could cook and make something happen for sure. So he's going to make sure that he gets accountability and get everybody involved. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to everybody in the building. Well over 100 in the chat, man. Make sure you guys keep liking, keep commenting. You guys are lit. We're going to get back to you. Make sure we hit up all your questions when we're done. We are now going to unpack the team culture, and we're almost done with the unpacking of Ben Johnson. We haven't even began to unpack who he's trying to bring into the building as far as a DC and other positional coaches. We got some really good news that you guys may or may not have heard of. Some really most recent news as of last night and early this morning that's been developing. So hang on tight, okay? Team culture. It goes beyond the X's and O's, okay? Johnson fosters a culture of belief and accountability. His time in Detroit wasn't just about scores, it was about changing the mindset, guys, from perennial underdogs to contenders. The offense led the charge early and often. When you talk about the 30-point games, the 40-point games, the 50-point games, that's a culture. That's not just, being good in the first quarter or being good in the fourth quarter and taking a couple quarters. You go look All 4 quarters, man. All gas, no brakes, baby. These guys were unbelievable. And that's all Ben Johnson, dude. That's all Ben Johnson.
When
Um,
you look at the Detroit offense, there's one thing that came to mind this season, and that's all attack. We ain't taking no prisoners. We just going to just destroy you all day long, and that's what we've seen. It's never really conservative. It's never really too conservative. You never really see them let their foot off the gas at all, and that's what makes that offense just so high octane, so potent, and that's why they generate so many points.
Yeah, in key positions, in situations where you think that, like you said, let their foot off the gas and hit the brake, they sped faster. They had the speed limit exceeded. They just kept going, and I think it's something. Listen, it's something we definitely need. We've seen it on the defensive side where we just unleashed our power and our will, and thrived. But we haven't really seen it a whole lot on the offense. And if we get who we're about to talk about here in the near future as our defensive coordinator, and you pair him with Ben Johnson, oh my, look out. So listen up, Bears Nation. Let's just bring it back, okay? We have snagged Ben Johnson, the offensive wizard who turned the Lions into a score machine. This guy was a real deal. And I am so excited about him, man. So excited about him. So let's talk about the philosophy and the aggressive play calling and his succession on 4th downs and how he plans to mold Caleb Williams into the franchise QB we've been dreaming of. Oh my God. You know, Caleb is so good in the 4th quarter. He's good at the end of the game. He's shown time and time again. But could you imagine, brother, pairing him with a guy like Ben Johnson? This will really unlock this dude's potential. We have no idea what the ceiling is for him. We've seen the floor, but there's much higher. There's much higher, and there's a lot to be left in store. Wouldn't you agree, Chris?
I definitely agree. We've seen flashes of Caleb Williams, like the just the talent he has, which is just so remarkable. It just he's able to make throws that a lot of quarterbacks really can't make because of how strong his arm is. And then at the same time, he has playmaking ability where it comes to breaking the pocket and he could buy time for his receivers. And when you have a guy like Ben Johnson coming in, he makes sure that everybody is doing their job and
Yes.
being where they need to be on any particular play call. And that's why you see a lot of their plays run
Yes.
smoothly. And you
Yes, sir.
mix that in with a
Yep.
quarterback, a young quarterback at that, who shows the talents that he could be one of the best in the league. It the sky is not the limit anymore. It's past the sky. The limit right now, the bottom is the sky. You can go as far as you can go past whatever you think it could possibly be when you
Yep.
have these two things mixed together. A quarterback with an arm and has the ability of Caleb Williams with an offensive mastermind like Ben Johnson. This combo can be really dangerous for years to come.
Yes. Get on your NASA spacesuit, call up Elon Musk. We're going to the moon, baby. You heard it first. Chris and I are getting on board. We're going to the moon with Ben Johnson and Caleb. Let's go, man. Here's another guy that we're going to travel with, Dennis Allen, the defensive coordinator. And
Ooh.
multiple reports after Adam Schefter broke, they believe that Dennis Allen will be, and it hasn't been for sure, it's not written in stone yet, but that Dennis Allen will be the defensive coordinator for the Chicago Bears. On defense, we've got Dennis Allen, guys, the man with the plan to turn our defense into a fortress. This isn't just any defensive mind. We're talking about a coach who's seen the highs and the lows of head coaching with the Saints, the Aints, and the Raiders. But what's his real magic? Crafting defenses that ranked in the top 10 for both points and yards. Let's analyze Allen's defensive schemes, focusing on his 4-3 alignment and how it aligns with the Bears' current roster. I mean, let's talk about how great this guy's mind is, man. He made oh, he's made some freaking real greats. He gave Tom Brady a freaking hard time. Remember that? This guy is something else, Chris.
Oh yeah, into his system, you seen a guy like DJ Gardner Johnson blossom out of the slot. I remember he picked off Brady, I believe, 2 times. But when you look at his defensive mindset, it is to attack and it is to be aggressive. And you've
Yes.
seen it in the way they bring the physicality, the attitude in that defense. When you have a guy like a Marshawn Lattimore there, you had a guy like Cam Jordan, you have a guy like Cam Jordan, the Mario Williams, like
Bro.
the way he set that defense up for success. It's one thing that doesn't really get the appreciation it really deserves, because we looked at the Saints and you thought Sean Payton, Drew Brees, but you never really gave that defense the look that it really deserved, because that defense was in a lot of games they were lights out,
Yeah.
and they were something that to was to be feared as well. And
Oh,
when you have a guy like that, you bring him over here with the talents we have, rookie corners, or not rookie corners, excuse me. You have young corners, a Montez Sweat, potentially a Jaquan Brisker, um, a Tyler Gordon,
yeah.
who literally elevated his play this year.
Yeah.
And you have the two linebackers with
Oh,
Edmonds and Edwards.
yes.
Like it just seems like he's just going into a defense where it's just he can literally be flexible with his game plan, be aggressive, whatever he wants to be. This defense could potentially show they have the ability to do whatever he need them to do.
Oh man, I'm serious, man. I'm so excited. You hit it right on the head. All the names you laid it out perfectly. I mean, seriously, And here's the deal. You also look about his track record as far as the numbers go. 7 seasons, 7 freaking seasons, over half a dozen seasons in the top half for scoring defense, 6 for yardage, and his knack for generating takeaways. How about the peanut punch, baby? Oh my, it's coming back. I'm so excited. I can't wait. This is going to be great. And let's also explore how his experience as a head coach could be a stabilizing force for Johnson. In the building, he's got that somebody that he could talk to in terms of like, okay, daddy's gone. Daddy Dan Campbell is gone. Now you've got somebody else that you can bounce things off of and not just be the only guy. I really feel like it's important to get a guy in there that you can mirror each other and bounce things back and collaborate and work together to keep Ben focused and dialed in. You know what I'm trying to say? Somebody that's got tenure, somebody that's got experience. I think it'll really help out in terms of, insights in his leadership.
Exactly that. And because when you look at, even though Dennis Allen's head coaching resume, but basically his time in the Saints as their head coach didn't go as
No.
he was planning. He could also bring to Ben Johnson, hey, here's the things I did that worked. Here's the things I wish I did better at. Here's the things that won't work. He brings that experience in,
Yeah.
so you don't have a guy coming in and he's still trying to get the hang of things. He has a guy that can actually help him through that part so he can get comfortable a whole lot quicker.
Oh yeah, man. I agree wholeheartedly. And somebody just hit my next point in the chat, man. I mean, this is great. Scottish Bear says another point. Allen won't get another shot at head coach. He's already had 3 chances, so you're not going to get another one. He could be our DC for years, and that's what's important is you get a guy that's already tried and it didn't work out. Now you got a guy who's like, okay, I'm a DC. God's telling me like it's not working out as a head coach. Let's just, he's not going to get another shot. So I agree with what Scottish Bear said. Thank you for bringing that point up. And hey, let's get into special teams coordinator. Uh, more like special teams with Darren Rizzi at the helm. Oh my, this is also something that Adam Schefter broke out, and you look at other sources that are talking about this, and I'm really excited, man. This guy resume isn't just impressive, it's legendary, man. Darren Rizzi, he was also the interim head coach, so some more experience that's really going to help out a young first time head coach in Ben Johnson. I really like it, man. From his days under Adam Gase in Miami to his interim head coaching stints with the Saints, he's transformed special teams into a game changer, man. You know what I mean? Let's discuss Rizzi's innovation and his approaching and how he focused on his record-breaking field goal and punt return units. That's something we haven't seen since Devin Hester, right? It would be really nice to see somebody come in here and focus on that and unlock some greatness out of these guys and really, really see like that is very important. How about working on let's get those field goals in instead of and all of that, and working with the offensive line, making sure these guys win the block. So listen, when I was talking to Kevin Butler, former, Hall of Fame field goal kicker, 85 Bears, he was telling me that if that offensive line would have won the push and got them back a few yards, that is pushes them back further. So your trajectory doesn't have to be as low as you think it does. So a lot of all that stuff changes. Like it's not just, yes, it is on the kicker. He needs to do his due diligence and get that set up the right way, but also getting all the nuances. It's all of it together. You know what I'm saying, Chris?
Oh, I definitely understand exactly what you're saying. When it comes to special teams, even though they are on the field less compared to the offense and defense, they also play a pivotal part in the game as well. When it comes to the kicking game, uh, in the end of the game, or all those, if you make all those extra points, make all those field goals, they add to that total, and
Already.
sometimes it makes it easier to coach coming down to the wire. When it comes to certain games, missed kicks matter when it comes to trying to come back from a deficit. And on top of that, the field goals at the end, when you have a guy that can set up his kicker to be clutch at the end of the game, that is pivotal. And
Oh, you still there?
and and then we can also go along with special teams. Special teams can literally change the momentum of the game. So we like just having that time where you can have that call where punt return can go for like say 20, 30 yards instead of the 10 you would want out of your returner. That gives better field position, that gets the team riled up and they ready to go.
Yeah, you look at the like you said, the potential of game deciders and the connection with Johnson having previously worked together. That's important for them to have. When Rizzi and Johnson work together, that's what's something that these guys look at, and I think that is what's going to help us in terms of other teams that want to poach and grab Rizzi. I think that's what gets the deal done, and I think that's what when Adam Schefter broke that news that these two guys should be, not shall, but should be coming to the Chicago Bears. So really excited about that, how they've worked together and how the synergy could elevate the Chicago Bears, man. I like what you just said. It brings energy and passion and keeps our guys on the offensive side and the defensive side of the ball going. It's that little bit where you get a break and you're looking out there and you finally get to, on the offense and defensive side, look up and see a third element in special teams. And when everybody is doing their job and everybody's carrying their load, it really helps you keep your energy and your mind flowing in the right direction. Let's talk about a couple other coordinators that are talked about right now that are that could be potentially seriously coming to the Chicago Bears. Let's talk about Hank Fraley and Antoine Randall, an offensive line coordinator in Hank Fraley, and a receiving coach also works with the quarterbacks. That's very interesting that Antoine Randall also works with the quarterbacks, and I'll we'll get to you in a minute because I know you can help us unpack that a little bit more. Now for offense, Hank Fraley and Antoine Randall. These aren't just coaches; they're mentors who've been there, done that, and now they're here to make our offense sing. Man, Hank Fraley. Let's delve into his transformation work with the Lions and their offensive line, turning them into an NFL powerhouse. Listen, those guys went on record and they're saying, we are going to pull out all your dirty laundry. We're going to expose you. Not that he has any, but they're just, they're joking. The players, offensive linemen, we'll do whatever it takes. We'll duct tape you, tie you to the post. We're not letting you leave the building. We need you. That's how important. Like, listen, when you talk to Penei Sewell said, hey, listen, this is all I know. Since I've been in the NFL, this is the only guy I know that's helped me unlock my greatness. I cannot let him leave the building. This is how important Hank Fraley is to that offensive line, man. I mean, he turned this offensive line, three former first rounders, into a powerhouse offensive line. Unbelievable. His coaching style, his technique, his toughness, and adaptability. I mean, this guy is well liked in the building. I don't know if he leaves the building, but if he believes in what Ben Johnson's doing and what he could potentially architect in Chicago, it might turn him in our direction. And I don't think that they're talking about him loosely. I think this is something that we seriously need to look at and consider. What say you, Chris?
I think it is something you definitely consider because when you look at the game, it's usually won in the trenches. And when you see the Detroit Lions line, you see them moving at one accord. They're all going all out, moving guys off the line of scrimmage, winning their battles. And that's pivotal when it comes to trying to get a running game going. And then on top of that, when you look at the pass blocking, they're doing their best to just protect Jared Goff, and then they know what they need to do. And this guy gets them in the right positions 9 times out of 10. That's why that the offensive line is one of the key reasons why this offense was just so dangerous. They can protect the quarterback, and then on the same time they can move you off the ball when it's
Yeah.
time to run the ball.
And when you see the trenches dominate, it puts passion and energy into all the other positions. There's no other position on the offensive side of the ball, and quite possibly, maybe even on an NFL team that relies on what they do, what their job is. I mean, they can really make thrive. The defensive line, same applies, but we're talking right now about this guy in Hank Fraley. Oh my! If he comes here, look out, guys. Look for him to get a promotion. Look for him to get a raise, and look for our offensive line to be great again. I mean, it's been a while since we had a guy, we really need a guy in here to shape us up because Chris Morgan, the only thing that Chris Morgan did for us is make us want to drink some Captain Morgan. That's it, baby. One leg up and freaking passing out after a game. So embarrassing, man. So embarrassing. Let's talk about the other contestant and Antoine Randall. Oh my. From a returns, talk about saving the best for last almost, I feel, man. I mean, seriously, there is not one part in this show that's not going to set your freaking hair on fire, guys. If you thought this part was good, go back to the beginning and watch it all over again. And if you thought this show was good, go back and watch breaking news at 2:30 yesterday, Central Chicago time, where our guy Darius D. Lock, D. Nice, he unlocked and let everybody know breaking news that Ben Johnson is now our head coach, man. You heard it first on Chicago Sports Podcast. We're bringing it to you freaking all gas, no brakes, baby. But Antoine Randall, from a return specialist to a quarterback in the Super Bowl to now one of the best and brightest coaching minds. Let's talk about his hands-on approach, his success with the Lions receivers, and how his creativity can unlock new dimensions for our wideouts, man. I really like this guy. The receivers like this guy. I've heard a lot of good stuff about him. I also heard how He likes to work with the quarterbacks too. This could be very, very powerful move for us. What say you, Chris?
I think it's pivotal because at the same time you help strengthen that connection between the quarterback and the receiver. You have a guy that played quarterback in college, and he was an NFL wide receiver, so he kind of knows where the sweet spots are in the zones, where the receiver needs to be, and also he can also tell the receiver, hey, when this happens, the quarterback seeing this, I need you here. He can tell the quarterback, hey, when the receiver sees this, this is where the ball needs to go. It
Beautiful.
builds that bond because he's able to bridge the gap as far as like what both sides see when it comes to receiver to quarterback.
That's good. I like that, man. That's really good. I like that mirror approach on both sides of it. You know what I mean? Not just one side, but, dual dimensional. That's important and that's really good. And I think that's what Ben Johnson probably likes about him. He's so much, tailored to the way he is. Same thing with Dennis Allen. All these guys, if you look at these guys, they all are very close together in the same fabric that builds them and makes them as good as they are. And I think that's what we need in the Chicago Bears. We need these guys to be able to look outside of the box and just get real innovative and creative and I think that's where you see all the passion and energy from when they're scoring 50, 40, 30 points a game. We're not even talking about 20 points a game or 10 points a game or winning or scoring 3 field goals. I mean, kicking a field goal is almost a joke. Cairo Santos and the punter might be maybe Caleb said a little premature. Maybe he meant for this year. So we'll see. But I think them guys are going to have well, we'll hope that they have a pretty easy year because in terms of 2022 and what he did with the Lions, they didn't have nearly as much as the Chicago Bears in 2025. He could really unlock some stuff. What say you, Chris?
I believe that he can be able to get the best out of Santos, and even though I from my perspective I believe Santos he's pretty good at his craft.
Oh
I
yeah.
think there's probably another level that he can reach up to where we could be holding him in high honors when it comes to his position.
Absolutely. Now let's get some. I need your guys' fire, guys. Bears fans, I need your guys' fire. I know you guys have blown up the chat, but I'm going to drop 5 questions to you guys, okay? And let's hear from the Bears fans. I need your fire. I need your passion. I need your energy. Here are the hot questions that keep this conversation burning, guys. What element of Ben Johnson's coaching style excites you the most for the Bears? What element of Ben Johnson's coaching style excites you the most for the Bears? Is it his aggressive play calling or is his knack for developing talent? Question number 2, guys. Pick any one or all of them that you want, and then we're going to circle back and go through the very top of the freaking register all the way down, man. All of the receipts, we're going to read them, guys. How do you think Johnson's history of turning around offenses will translate to the Bears, especially with Caleb Williams? Are we looking at a potential playoff team next season? What are we looking at, guys? Question number 3. Which of Johnson's Lions stats do you hope to see replicated in Chicago? Which of Johnson's Lions stats do you hope to see replicated in Chicago? Make sure you hit that subscribe button. If you're a first-time viewer, we appreciate you. We appreciate your views. Hit that like button. Thank you for all the comments, guys. Thank you for all the comments. We're so excited to be breaking all this news and information with you. We're going to have a great season. 2025 is our year for Chicago sports. Question number 4. What part of Johnson's journey do you think will be the most influential in his approach in Chicago? His playing days, his time under various coaching regimes, or his success in Detroit? What do you think a part of his journey will be the most of the influence in Chicago? Question number 5. If you were Ben Johnson, what would be your first order of business with the Bears? I already know you guys are going to say, take care of the offensive line. Let's get some offensive line. I guarantee you, like that, there's going to be some other outliers there, but that's got to be the number one, Chris. So let's hear those coaching plays. And I appreciate you guys. Join this conversation. Let's circle back all the way at the top. man, look at all these guys. These guys are awesome, man. They're on fire. We could do a whole nother show. So we're just going to gloss over these. Oh my gosh. The register's full, bro. All right. Plank says, good morning, tracks. Chris, bear down. Mike Crescenia says, let's go, boys. Bear down. Bear down. They're all bearing down. I love it, man. Casey Barker, bear down, brother. Debbie Tuttle, 85 Bear cheerleader, Honey Bear. She says, good morning. David Rigdon, bear down. Good morning, guys, and bear down. Um, Casey Barker, everybody's exchanging, Plank saying, and pleasantries. Man, I love this community. This is great. This is where we could reach out, talk to each other. This is so awesome, ain't it, Chris?
No, it is awesome, and what it feels like is for Chicago's Bears fans, it feels like a brighter new day is coming, and I would say it looks like everybody just it's something that as a fan base been waiting for so long, and we feel like it's about that time. It's about that
Absolutely.
time,
It's about
and
time,
we
man.
can't wait.
Let's get down to business, baby. So Dave Rigdon says, which of our free agents do you think will retain? I think there's a good chance in Keenan Allen. I think they like how he is on the field. I know Caleb's a big fan of him, and they have a glowing. Um, I mean, they talk about and they gush about how he's almost like a player coach on the field, and I think that's important. And he's still productive. And if he is not that expensive in terms of his age, and we get something, let's look into that. I think he's definitely worth bringing back for a year, 2 years, and then kind of just give him some outliers where he gets them incentivized and really gives them a hey, let's stay on the field, let's log some minutes and some stats will help you get some extra cash. I think there's something that we could work out there for sure, but obviously leaving room for Ben Johnson and what he sees and what he wants. But I think if I think Ben Johnson would want to keep Keenan Allen. I'm not sure though. But breaking news, Bruce says, feeling good and excited about our new head coach. I think everybody slept pretty good last night and is a bright new morning and a bright new day, man. Um, Scottish Bear in the building. He said, what's up, Brandon, brother? What's up, guy? Um, Everybody, some more pleasantries. Barrelismo says, talk is that Hank Fraley, the Lions offensive line coach, is coming as a OC line coach. Yeah, we just unpacked that. Obviously, you put that in the chat before we got into it. Feel like sometimes you guys are writing the show for us, Oh, man, it's awesome. Again, they're pumped up. They're excited, man. You see all the excitement, Chris? This is great, brother.
Yeah, man. I mean, with the news of Ben Johnson coming in, and man, I'd be just as excited too. I
Yeah.
mean, just look at the possibilities of where this offense can go. Like it's so much exciting news for what this Bears organization is trying to do. They're trying to go for it this year. They're
Yep.
trying to go for it the next year. They're building something long term that they feel is going to be a running machine that a lot of teams won't be able to stop.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's safe to say we really are doing our due diligence and trying to take the North back. And it's kind of empty calories right now for the North, where they go to the playoffs. Not saying that I'm looking that as not something we want to go to the playoffs. Make no mistake about it. That's where the bar is set right now. We can't be freaking like, oh, we need to go to the Super Bowl this year, or whatever. I mean, come on, let's get real. But empty calories in terms of everybody that was in the playoffs from NFC North this year was one and done. So essentially, they got one more game than the Bears, and we ended the 2025 season on a high note by beating the Packers, who were in the playoffs. So, and there are division rivalries, and that's something that Caleb and the Bears can hang their hat on. And now they're keeping momentum going by getting everybody's first round draft pick and Ben Johnson as a head coach. And also, Scottish Bear brings up a good point. Not going to lie, I love the sound of Dennis Allen as a defensive coordinator. Oh my, like we're not just stopping as head coach. When you hear what Adam Schefter reported last night, Adam Schefter said that you look at what Ben Johnson's approach is. I'll be on record to say that I didn't see that he had as many connections as he did as young as he does. Okay, listen, the young Timothy in Ben Johnson. Wow. Oh my. This guy, Adam Schefter, reported that he has a star-studded list of people that he wants to bring with him. And if it all works out, we're excited about this Dennis Allen as a defensive coordinator. I mean, there's still a lot more to unpack. So make sure you tune in with Trax, Chris Brown, and all of my favorite, co-hosts. We got a lot more, but let's keep these comments going, guys. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe. Let's get into a couple more comments before Chris and I take off, man. Um, Illinois Jones says, "What's up, everybody? Bear down." Um, Dave Rigdon wants to know what's the schematics of his contract. I think I saw earlier, and this is just loosely reportings, nothing's concrete yet. I saw something in the terms of around 13 mil or something like that. I thought it was reported earlier that the demand was at least 16 mil. So I don't know if 13 is accurate. But I know there's no cap on, head coaching. So maybe there's some outliers there where incentivized he gets more and then it ends up being 16 or even more. What say you, Chris? Do you know anything about this?
Um, no, I actually don't know the exact number and the exact year of it. No, but I believe it was about a 5-year deal. If I want
Five
to
or
be
six, yeah.
honest,
Yeah,
it's
five to
like a
six.
5-year, around 60 mil type of thing. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I know it's like a 5 or 6 year deal. I'm not sure which one is it. Maybe it's a 5 year with a six option. I don't know, but they'll unpack that. I'm sure we'll have some news developing or whatever, and we can do a sideshow. But Illinois Jones says, grrr. Mhm. Okay. Uh, D Nice rocks. Everybody loves D Nice, man. Debbie Tuttle is an exciting moment. Make us ready for the new season with new coaches. She's excited about it. We're all excited about it. This is great, man. Yeah. And which one is getting that bag? Hopefully, it ain't Brisker. He's constant injured and talks too much, bringing negativity to the locker room. If anything, Gordon deserves a bag. I like Gordon. Brisker, it's early. Hopefully he can get healthy. I'd love to see if he could play. I'm more importantly interested in his health and the man being better. We got over 140 in the building, man. Oh my goodness, you guys are awesome. Um, Looks like he's putting together a great staff. Ray Johnston said. Um, Let's see. Illinois Jones says, "I'll be honest. I talked myself out of Ben Johnson because I didn't think the Bears were competent enough to land him." Hey, I think a lot of people felt that, didn't you? Like, I really felt like you saw all these names coming out, 17, 18, 20 plus guys coming in on freaking Jets, and that's the first. I really didn't know what was going on and what to think of it. But I talked myself out of Ben too because I just didn't think it was going to happen. Man, he's the guy that everybody wanted.
With me, I didn't really. I was too focused on Mike Vrabel. That was my problem.
Okay.
And when I looked at the list of interviews they had, I didn't really. It was that, and on top of that, they're an NFC North rival. I didn't really see him, robbing Peter to pay Paul to be a head coach here for the Chicago Bears. But I ain't gonna lie, I love it. I love it. I love the idea.
Illinois Jones agrees with you. He just laid out that he talked himself out of it, but now that he's here, he couldn't be happier. I love it too, man. This is great, man. Lonnie says, "Hey, man, I appreciate you, Lonnie. It looks like you're a first-time subscriber. You just said Chicago. Share, support, subscribe, hit the like button, man. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate the local help, man, for sure. Bear down.
With the
Kevin Woodall
likes of
says,
support.
yeah. Kevin Woodall says, first time in my life that they hired the coach that I wanted. Listen, I just heard a really great stat yesterday. Since January 20th, the first time, which was yesterday, the first time, this will be the second time in history that the Chicago Bears has hired a head coach on January 20th. The first one was Mike Ditka. It's a pretty good date, man. He's got a big resume to fill up. You know what I mean? There's some big numbers, some big shoes to fill there for sure. Scottish Bear says, if Johnson can assemble the staff, it's key. I feel like he's going to, man. I feel really good about it for sure. I agree with you, Scottish Bear. Bear down, more pleasantries. Scottish Bear says, Johnson's offensive line coach is most important hire. Let's hope we're hopeful it's Hank Fraley. If not, yeah, I agree. That's the most important one for sure. It all starts with the line, right, Chris?
Yes, most definitely. If your line ain't right, you can't expect to go deep into any type. Don't even have any playoff contention in your mind if you don't have that line right. Just don't.
Yeah. Illinois Jones says, man, this mailbag is full, man. I appreciate you guys. Keep the comments coming. We need to look at safety and free agency or one of the second rounders. Hey, listen, I agree. I don't know about second rounders, but I definitely do look at, and it's in terms of like we need to get another safety for free safety or strong safety. I don't think that we're well rounded out. I think we could probably use one, maybe even two more. What say you, Chris?
Yeah, I believe there's a hole at safety. We don't know about Jaquan Brisker yet. Yes, he shows flashes. Well, not even shows flashes. He's shown he can produce on the field. It's just the fact of we need him on the field. And your best ability is your availability. Um, and then on top of that, we need to give him, if he's going to be the Batman of the back end of that secondary, then he needs a Robin. You see what I'm saying? And
Yep.
we need to get that guy. Or you could just bring in a good veteran that can fill that role. So it just keeps that defense um, set in all levels of the defense.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more. Erica says, good morning, all. Good time to be a Bears fan. So happy right now. Triple exclamation. We actually did it. Yes, we actually did it, man. We actually did it. This is so good. This is so good. Kevin Woodall, good morning, Erica. Bear down. Everybody's pleasantries with Erica. I'm scared for Brisker. I am too, Illinois Jones. So pray for him, man. Pray for him. Scottish Bear says, remember, Swift was traded away to the Eagles under Ben Johnson's watch. Swift won't cut the mustard under Johnson. I don't know about that. I don't know about that. I think they had a bigger plan in place. And when they went and drafted somebody that they had under their, in their, crosshairs and on their radar, it just, what one more extra guy in the room, if you know what I'm saying, Chris. I don't think that he's opposed to him. And why would you get rid of the best running back you got on your roster? You need to, fill that out.
I, I don't think that was. I don't think DeAndre Swift wanting a trade out of Detroit was because of Ben Johnson. I think it was more of a fact that it came shortly after they signed David Montgomery. And
Yes.
then there was rumors of them going for Jameer Gibbs. So, it kind of left Swifty as the odd man out. And I understand it. You know what I'm saying? You have the talent he has. He's like, hey, if you're not gonna use me, you're not gonna value me the way that I see myself, then send me to a team that will. I don't see a problem with that. But I don't see him doing the same thing now.
Yeah, for sure, man. I agree. And, that's exactly how it transpired. And it just kind of like, the secession and everything, everything develops. It's not just, because of one thing. It just kind of is all, together. It's part of a plan that they had in place. Barrelismo says, if we could leave free agency with Tristan Wirfs, Trey Smith, James Daniels, and Liam Etchberg. Oh my God, man, this guy is freaking bringing out the dream team of freaking free agent offensive linemen. Who's to say that they even hit? I mean, they're potential free agents, but let's keep in mind, Bearless and you know this, I'm sure you know that these guys could possibly be tenured by their current team, but some of them will hit the streets. I don't know if all of them will, but if we could get one of those guys, I'd be happy. But you want a trifecta? Listen, if that happens, I will freaking give you the shout out of the freaking mountaintops. And to Booty says draft Ashton Genty and Harold Fannin Jr. Ooh wee, man, this guy he wants it all, right?
That's a Christmas list right there.
Hey,
I'll put
what?
it this way: uh, uh, if you get a shot at a Tristan Wirfs, just take that check, right? Don't put a number. Say put what you think you would like. and just leave it. Don't even don't even say, okay, we'll give you this. He is a very versatile tackle. The dude can literally play tackle on both sides of the offensive line,
Yeah.
which is not really something you see consistently in the NFL level.
No.
One guy that can play right tackle and left tackle, and he switches once, like, almost every other season. So that part alone right there, that he does it at a high level, I would just go take a big bag, drop it at his house, and say, if you want us, we're gonna give you anything you need. Please, just give us a shot. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, please help us with this line. I would love you to join us on this organization, man. Oh man, I'm just
Oh,
talking about Tristan Wirth. I ain't even get to the rest of the list yet, because that list, man, it's a dream come true. But
Caleb's gonna
I'm
have
not
a
gonna set
clean
myself
jersey
up
with
for that.
that list, bro. Caleb's gonna have a clean jersey with that list early and often. Like Kevin Woodall says, that's a beautiful dream, Bearlissimo. Hey, man. Hey, we're dreaming with this head coach. We got him. Things are happening. Why not? We just keep going. Let's keep going. That's what Bearlissimo's saying. Hey, he's saying why? Don't say why me. Say try me. Let's go. Illinois Jones says, who do you think Johnson's OC will be? I think Ben Johnson's OC will be himself, but I think it's somewhere in the middle of Antoine Randall and Hank Fraley if they come in there. I could see him asking those guys to double dip in some way, shape or form. What say you? Or do you see that?
I think that'll happen. Usually when you have, well, not usually. Sometimes when you have a guy come from another organization, he brings a guy that's, that he meshes with pretty well to follow him, and they become that type of 1-2 punch. Like, you've seen it with the Houston Texans, with their head coach. What he brought along was one as part of the staff on the offensive side to be the offensive coordinator for that Texans offense. And it helps, because it's not like, I got to get to know you. We work together at the other organization, so I know
Yes.
you and you know me. So it just goes together. It gels a whole lot easier.
You mean people actually like to work with people they've worked with before and there's familiarity? And instead of like chastising and saying, why are people like about the good old boy club? It's like, why not the good old boy club? Why wouldn't you want to work with somebody that you've had success with in the past and bring them forward and cook together instead of like trying yourself, in your luck with somebody that you have no chemistry or anything with about like it, the vibe might be totally different.
You get, sometimes you get the wrong person, it can make a lot of things awkward.
Oh yeah, it sometimes it just takes one, but honestly, wow, man. Wow. Chris, I can't wait to talk to you after the show. Hey, King Early the Honest, man. Detroit in shambles. Pucker face. Woo! King Early the Honest, man. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, man. I appreciate you coming in for the first time. Oh man, Illinois Jones says, don't talk about drafting running backs, please. Why not? Why not? Be open to it, man. Especially if we get our Christmas list that we are talking about there. Let's get 2 or 3 of them. Jeez. I, there's definitely
if
need for some running back.
if you get two of the two linemen you named, I will not get mad if you go skills for the draft. If you
Yeah.
get two of them,
Yeah.
if you get the two, I will not get mad. I will not look at the screen and want to throw my soda at it. I will literally sit there and go, I understand it. I understand it. But until then, trenches, or we gonna have a problem.
Yes, trenches, trenches, and more trenches. We can all agree on that, especially a former offensive lineman left tackle, man. Plank again, we circled back to this. I've got to get to work. Thank you guys. Tracks, Chris, chat, bear down. Such a great guy, man. Love him, dude. Good guy.
Thank you for just paying, watching us and just giving us your time. We really appreciate it,
Yeah,
man.
we do, man. This show's all about you. It's for you. It's created by a fan, another fan, and Chris, and all of our, all of our co-hosts and all of that. From fans to fans, this is our favorite part of the show where your voice can be heard. You don't hear of this on the three-letter networks of Fox, NBC, any of that, or the four networks of ESPN. This is here, baby. Boots on the ground in our garage. You could see our breath. We're in Chicago. We're abroad. We're everywhere. We're nationwide. We love you guys, man. We love the chat, man. For fans, from fans to fans. This is great, man. I love the content. Let's keep it going. Oh, Illinois, man, he's excited. He's doing like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's so many freaking high fives he's doing up there, hands to the ceiling. He's happy, man. He's excited. Barrelismo says, you seen Ashton Gentry? Yes, I'd personally take O-line for 2 of our first 3 picks personally, but if we get top tier established O-line, then why not? Yeah, I mean, you could see both sides of it. I understand what you're saying, Barlissimo. Same thing that Chris and I have been saying. We need to prioritize our offensive line, but there is obviously a need there, especially when we got an offensive guru and we see what he can do. Listen, there's a difference, right, in just drafting a stud at running back, but not knowing how to utilize him. Ben knows how to unlock and utilize a running back, so why not? Okay, Illinois Jones, bear down plank. Okay, Scottish Bear says, there's no way I'm drafting Genty in the first round. Trenches through the draft and free agency. All the good players are never available in free agency in the trenches. We need to build through the draft. He makes a good point. Very few times will we see all these guys hit the streets. You want to definitely do your due diligence and protect your quarterback and your team from mayhem. And that's your insurance policies when you go get that offensive line. You don't get yourself a Bugatti. You don't go get yourself a nice compact vehicle or a truck, and don't go get yourself some cheap dollar $30 insurance that you can't get a hold of customer service. You go get good quality insurance to protect your vehicle, protect your home. That's what we're talking about with Caleb Williams and this offense, guys. You need to go out and take care of that. So trenches, 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 more trenches.
It makes no sense to get a Porsche when the street's full of potholes. That's basically what's going on.
Yes,
There's no point.
the size of swimming holes. Yeah. Kevin Woodall says, anyone know the numbers to Ben? Yeah, we just talked about that earlier. So, but yeah, so we talked about that. Appreciate you, Kevin. If he's there in the second round, sure, take him. You can't take him at 10. Hold our beer. It just might happen. Barrelismo says trick plays are plays that should only come out when you're dominating already or desperate. Let me see you run inside zone, outside zone, mesh and floods levels before I see a damn trick play. I see what you're talking about. I know you're frustrated and everything that you've seen. Make no mistake about it, Barrelismo. I don't think we need to advise Ben Johnson on how to do things. I think we'll be all right, Barrelismo, for sure. No more advisory from us, man. I think Ben's got it covered, dude, for sure. And make no mistake about it, he might bring an offensive coordinator in, but I'm pretty sure he'll be the offensive coordinator, head coach. Kevin Woodall says St. Brown said Swift and Gibbs were the same running back. Well, hey, I mean, I don't know if he said it exactly like that. I can't say that he didn't. I'm not trying to put words in your mouth, but it's hard to see that a teammate, that a player in the same building would say something like that, but maybe that's kind of like the gist of it. But maybe this time same style. Maybe it's the same style. Maybe it's the same style.
Yeah, I think it's that. It's just Gibbs. Just for me, and this is my opinion. I think Gibbs is just way more, just more explosive. Not way more explosive, and is faster.
Yeah,
That's about it.
and younger, less beat up, productive, and successful. There's a lot of things, but I think I know where he's getting at. But you got to be a little. I'm a little careful and cautious about that stuff. So I'm tired of watching Braxton Jones get beat 20 times a game. Yeah, I think with the right coach, and listen, he's a mountain of a man. When I interviewed him in the locker room and he's brushing his beard out over by his locker, and I asked him if he's got time for an interview, he's like, "Yeah, go ahead." And we start talking. My neck started to cramp, and I'm 6'6". I'm a big boy, and I'm looking up to this mountain of a man. He's a big guy, and you can't teach that. We still got him under contract for one more year. We're not shipping him off, so he's obviously our left tackle. Maybe this offensive line coach and Ben Johnson can unlock some stuff that he's just been kind of dormant, because really these guys have not been good leaders of men, right? So let's see what happens, and let's see who they put on interior line, and all that kind of stuff could really help and shake himself out, because honestly, playing as an offensive lineman at left tackle, my guard and my center were my two most important pieces. It was not so much the quarterback. I knew what the play was when we got to the line of scrimmage, but if there was an audible or a hot read or whatever, they saw anything coming, I would get that from the center. And then, you look at the conduit from the center to the left guard to me, and I would hear that, and it would all transpire from the quarterback, center, through all the way through that. It's very important to have those pieces in place, because the last person that gets to hear the change is the left tackle and the right tackle. So it's important, and it does matter. It really matters, guys. Let's see here. Dave Rigdon says Rashawn Johnson is his Montgomery. Yeah, I agree, but here's the deal. He hasn't developed into that yet, and with the Guardian helmet and the concussions, his days might be limited. I'm not saying that we've gave up on him entirely, but just put a pin in this. We'll get back to it. I don't know if he stays. Health might be the major concern here. Looks like Giants are hiring Aaron Glenn. I appreciate you. Well, we figured out it was the Jets earlier. Scottish Bear got us, caught up on that. Sean Lugo. I think we've read some of these. Yeah, we've got into this. Let's see. Sean Lugo, one of our co-hosts, a guy for 4 stars, says he makes life easier on his quarterback with his commitment to the running game. Johnson has a high usage of screens and play action, and ensure he will implement RPOs for Williams as well. I couldn't agree more. For sure. Bless you. Sean says a monumental day. Top target Aaron Glenn visits the Jets, and the goal is to keep him from leaving the building. Sources say the deal isn't done, and there are still some particulars to discuss. Yep. So that's what do you call it? Scottish Bear was talking about earlier. Kevin Woodall says, like to see more play action next year. I would too, but you got to have a successful running game in order to get that play action, right, Chris? I think that's something you were talking about earlier, Chris.
That and the offensive line that can block the blind side, because the one thing a quarterback doesn't like is to finish that play fake and get hit in the back.
Oh. And how about you help him up, you big dummy? You let that block go, and your quarterback is getting up on his own will. Shame on you. Go to the locker room right now, because I don't have no use for you, man. Help your quarterback up early and often. It's something that you even learn in freaking pee-wee basketball leagues, man. When somebody hits the freaking the ground, and you're playing basketball down in the paint, and he hits the ground, you take your hand out and help a brother up, man. Are you kidding me? What's wrong with you guys, man?
I don't get it. If you're gonna let somebody down, at least help them up. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you just, yeah. I don't know. That's a culture thing. But I believe that culture will be better going from this moment forward.
Yeah, me too. Scottish Bear says, guys, remember Ben Johnson wanted to part ways with Swift in Detroit, was traded to the Eagles. That will be interesting to see. Yeah, we discussed that earlier. I'm sure there's still concerns. I'm glad we addressed that for sure. Illinois Jones says, I saw Locked On Lions, and that dude was calling the Bears organization a joke. He almost crapped his pants. I told him to go look in the mirror. Oh, boy. Oh, man. Dennis Allen is a hell of a DC. We couldn't agree more, man. Let's hope this they seal the deal for sure. We need a legitimate running game. Oh man, practice, man. Absolutely, man. Braxton Jones is a swing tackle at best. There, he said it. Okay, we appreciate your opinion, man. Appreciate it. Illinois Jones says we need an O-line, the meanest gang of people outside of prison. He wants to hire prisoners, man.
He wants the longest yard as an offensive line in the NFL. I don't think that's a good idea. I
No,
don't.
no, no,
I don't.
no, no. Hey, man, Caleb's got to eat, man. He can't be freaking looking over his shoulders.
Yes. No. The last thing
No.
you want is the quarterback to think to be scared of his left tackle. Like that's the last thing you want is to look over the shoulder of your left tackle that's supposed to be protecting you and not on the field.
Hey, hey,
I don't
speaking
have
of
any
which,
T left.
we got over 150 in the building, man. Make sure you guys hit the subscribe button. I appreciate you guys, man. Leave a good review, man. We appreciate your view. Make sure you hit that like button early and often. And man, thank you guys so much. You guys have been awesome tonight or this morning. Awesome. Kevin Woodall says more exotic pressures. Yeah, you're not wrong, Kevin. Um, this was the best hire possible for Caleb. Listen, I think you said it, but I don't think you finished the sentence. It's the best a hire for Caleb and company. This guy is going to bring way more than just offense. He is bringing a culture. He's bringing a winning attitude. He's bringing success in on the field and in life. This is important. It's gonna, you know, it's going to be huge, man. It's way more than Caleb. But I know what you're saying. For Caleb, yes, but Caleb and company for sure. Poles needs to do better in the draft. Hey, listen, I think he will. I think the bright times are coming. I think it's going to be good. I think he's going to have a lot more belief, and his hands aren't going to be tied. Remember, that was an arranged marriage, and it's pretty hard to fall in love with the bride when it's an arranged marriage and you're forced to like your bride, you know. Scottish Bear says if we bring in Allen and hire a good offensive line coach, we could be cooking. Yes, baby. That's what we're talking about. That's what we're talking about. Can we hit on rounds 1 through 3 for once? I don't think any third polls picks have clicked. I feel like we will this year. I feel like we will. I feel like some of them were desperation and just by need and not so much best available. So I think we're going to see more of that this year. What say you, Chris?
I just think when it came to certain picks, it's probably just because of how thin that position group was.
Yeah.
And like I would say that the Tevin Jenkins pick for me it was a pretty good pick when you looked at the film of his college film. But when it came to how the league is right now, it hasn't really worked out like anticipated when he was selected. So, we just got to do better at drafting talent in the earlier rounds. The back end of the draft, he seems to be hitting. He's hitting it like it's the lottery every time. It's
Yeah.
just that them second and third round picks that make you kind of want to scratch your head sometimes.
Hey, go look at Bill Belichick and how much his, because he essentially was the freaking, mastermind behind all that. Go look at how many times he screwed the pooch on freaking drafts. It was not even funny, dude. It's not even close. It was bad. It was really bad there. So you're not going to hit the lottery every time in the draft. There's only so much that you can do because at the end of the day, that player has to execute, okay? He has to execute. And that's one thing that Bill Belichick, I'll take one out of his book and says, it's not about experience, it's about execution that matters. And you can say that, I'll say that till I'm blue in the face, because you can get a guy who's, Polk High, freaking Al Bundy ran all this back in the day. But what did he do for me today, bro? What did you do today? You didn't do nothing. You're still riding the freaking coattails of your own laurels from way back in yesteryear. And right now, this kid's outshining you and he's killing it. So why should I bench him when you benched yourself today looking at, in your rear view? Like, look in the freaking windshield because it's bigger than the mirror in the rear view for a reason, man. And I like what Bill Belichick says. Well, how else are you going to empower somebody that just got in the building as a rookie to play? Be like, okay, well, I guess I'm benched for the next 5 or 6 years because I don't have enough time to play out here. Like, no, you got to empower everybody, and everybody's got to execute no matter how much tenure you have. I mean, that's the way to do it, Sebastian Natera says maybe they'll actually be coached to get low on field goal blocks. This right here, and not lose in the final seconds to a block kick. That's very crucial, very important. I believe that's why a lot of things happened the way that they did. It's not all, like you said earlier, Cairo Santos is a good field goal kicker. It's not all on him. Some of it is on him, but not all of it for sure. Keenan, Mike Christiania says, is Keenan Allen a free agent this year? Yes, he is. Scottish Sperry answered that, no problem. Mike Christiania says, time to go after Tyreek Hill. What say you, Chris?
As much as I would love the cheetah and cold, I don't think would mix well. But I have seen Ben Johnson take advantage of a speedster and put into use to just break the game open. So from a schematic standpoint, absolutely. But how would he fit in Chicago? That I'm not 100% sure. It's just that would he be willing to do whatever it takes to be there for the team, because there's a little bit of a question about his character, which I don't really think that's anything. I don't want to say major. It is something you need to pay attention to, but those are the things that I'm thinking about. It's not more of the on-field things; it's the off-field stuff.
So listen, I think outwardly he's actually saying something that a lot of people in his tenure are thinking about. And speed kills, but at some point you look at these guys and there is a drop off. They're not always the fastest man in the universe, and all these repetitions start to wear on you. It's football. He's not running on a controlled, track, every day. So he actually says what I think a lot of them are thinking of, like, hey man, I see Miami's just, and there's other players that are coming out and saying the same thing. And I'm not saying that it's an entirely right way to do things, but I think what we're trying to say is, can he come in and be humble? Can he be humble? Can he be a good addition in the locker room? Or is he just going to come in with this skill and kind of mess things up? Because this culture is about ready to change, and we want to make sure that nothing, disturbs it. That's the big outlier there. That's the concern.
Exactly.
It's not about his skill and him as a player. It's the things that are attached to that we're concerned about.
Exactly.
So, Scottish Bear says Morgan needs to go today. I couldn't agree with you more. Scottish Bear also says smash them likes. Belt to ass. Thank you for Bears helping dismantle the Lions. He's loving it. Jeez, man, this guy's something else. Hey, man, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Appreciate you. Scottish Bear says run game, long-term success under Johnson. Working with Dan Quinn. Jamie Cruz, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Appreciate you, Jamie. Bet he gets rid of Swift. I don't know about that, man. I wouldn't bet too much. I think he might be here for a little bit, man. Sebastian Natera, one. Okay, one. Scottish Bear, improving the trenches, especially the O-line. Oh, that's okay, cool. I want him to develop Caleb Williams. I do too. They're answering our questions at the end of the show. That's what's going on now. We're looking at the playoffs next season. If not, this was an L. I okay. Listen, I think the production and everybody getting in there and showing growth and development and maturation will lead to a playoff. But if we fall short of it and we see that we are leaps and bounds 10 times better than we were this year, I don't think that that's something that we can, scoff over for sure. What say you, Chris?
I I agree. Like if if it comes down to it, and the team approves, and we just missed the playoff because another team didn't lose a game to secure the final slot,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna really be mad at that. Like
Oh, okay.
I would see it as a step in the right direction, because when you look at this record now compared to if that was to happen in the future, it's not a failure every season, but it's just that you didn't get to that final goal, which is to every team is win the Super Bowl. Other than
Yeah.
that, it's not a failure.
No. And, I like what Sebastian says, man. Hopefully that he learned from the coaches he was under during his journey. I couldn't agree more. That's important to learn from your whole process, your whole evolution. He says, I don't think we need offensive line as much as some people say. Yes, we do. They were a lot of injuries, but a lot of it was the bad coaching. I'm not disagreeing with you on that part as far as the bad coaching and the injuries. Listen, there were, in terms of uh, offensive line changes, there were the most in the NFL. You have to be consistent, not consistently inconsistent. You have to be consistent on the offensive line. You need to make sure that your left tackle, left guard, right tackle are all together, one cohesive unit, and they work together in the structure each game, each repetition, all the way throughout. They have to stay there. I understand injuries happen, whatever, you know, all those sort of things, but not the way that it was this year. I mean, you're talking about several guys, not just one change, two or three in one game, and just moving, pieces around like crazy, man. That can't happen. But yeah, we definitely need to improve on the offensive line. Scottish Bear says the run game is key to open Caleb Williams. It will ease the load as well. Boom. That's great, man. Couldn't have said it better, Scottish Bear, for sure. Uh, let's see here. I'm not opposed to getting Genty right now. Hey, look at this. We've got to Cowboys back in the building. I appreciate you coming back. I love this for the Bears. My late father, a Cowboys fan, is from Chicago, so he was partial to you guys. Oh, that's awesome. That's great. I'm glad you're happy for him, for sure. Oh, Emilio Brito, thank you so much for the super chat, man. I wish I would have saw this earlier. Um, it says, bend the pen, Johnson is ours. Credit to the organization for sticking with the vision and still getting their guy. No need to fire polls. Thank you for the super chat. Thank you for the uh, uh, participation. Appreciate your contribution. And I agree. We're excited about this for sure. We're excited about the vision. David Rigdon says, would love Becton. Becton? You know who Becton is?
Mekhi Becton, the guard for the Philadelphia Eagles, who was a draft pick for the Jets. He was supposed to be what they saw was a left tackle. That that would be a great pickup as far as a run game perspective. I think the only question I would have is how good is his pass blocking in the interior of the offensive line, because he is pretty tall for a guard, but other than that, dude can push the pile. He's a road grader.
Yeah, the name rang a bell. I just couldn't quite put where it was at because we've been kind of bouncing around from free agents to drafting and all that kind of stuff. We've been in and out, but yeah, man, I would definitely listen. That's one of my favorite offensive lines. Okay, it's the Eagles, it's the Ravens, early and often, man, and the Broncos. Don't get it twisted. They're up there. They're number one actually. So this year they did really good. The offensive line over there in Denver. So, and you got to understand this. One thing's for sure, with that head coach, Peyton's going to make sure that he's got a good offensive line for sure. Jamie Cruz says, well, what if we fill some of our interior O line in free agency and Genty is there at 10? Not saying I want that necessarily, but it is a possibility. Oh, yeah, anything's a possibility. I'd love for that to happen for sure. Hey, and listen, we would almost we can't guarantee instant success because nothing's guaranteed, but I mean, in terms of transitioning from the NFL speed on the off from the NCAA college football to the NFL speed, they're already there. So they already know. You know what I'm saying? It's just a matter of getting familiar with the offensive line, the terminology, the playbook, all that kind of stuff, Chris, you know?
I I want to. I know how dynamic Ashley Genty was, at Boise State. But even though if we were to fill the need for the some of the needs for the offensive line,
Yeah.
I would want to try to go for some talent on the defensive line. There's a lot of
Oh
edge.
my.
There's a good amount of edge rushers that are as
Yeah.
premium talent in this draft class.
Yeah.
And that's one of the holes we have too. I would try to address that more than just, the running back position.
Hey, and to your point, I wouldn't mind spending a little time over there in Michigan because honestly, the Wolverines, they got a bona fide defensive line, man. All them boys are going to the draft. Like, seriously, they're gonna have to figure it out because if all them boys hit and they all go into the draft and they get drafted, the Michigan Wolverines are gonna have a big gap in the whole entire. I mean, like everybody's going. It's crazy, man.
And then Penn State, they got the two great defensive ends, Abdul Carter being one of them. So
Oh boy.
it's a lot. It's a
Yeah.
lot of talent on that line coming out this draft class.
Yep. I wouldn't be mad at approaching that for sure, but I just feel like, since we went out and got Sweat and we've been cheap and we've saved a lot of money, on the offensive line for years, now's the time to get a little expensive over there, if you know what I'm saying. But yeah, we definitely need to address both sides of the trenches. I know we can both agree on that. Dave Rigdon says, I know when it comes time and Jalen Carter becomes a restricted free agent, sign him to an offer sheet that'll make impossible for Philly to match. As excited as you are at Jalen Carter, you'll be equally excited when other guys hit and they get into the draft, man. Jalen Carter's one man, and I don't see the Eagles letting a guy like him leave the building, unfortunately. He's definitely a good talent for sure, man. Dave Rigdon says, depending on what cap space is, though. Yeah, man, listen, all these guys cost money, and right now, Daddy's got a lot of money. He get in the upwards of 100, 110, 120 mil if everything works out right. And but we got a lot of draft picks, so that helps, and all that kind of stuff. And Brandon Pohl, shout out to Brandon Pohl. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, first time viewer. Hit that like button also. What edge do you think the Bears will draft? Well, that's a good question. Let's have you answer that.
It's hard for me to answer because of the draft class. We haven't even noticed the combine yet, and some of them going to do the Senior Bowl. So we don't really know because we have to see how they also run. If you can get an Abdul Carter, that'd be great. Uh, it, um, the name they just won the national championship tonight. Well, the previous night. Uh, if you can get him, he's another one. You have players from Michigan. Like there's the talent on there. There's so many names. It's just I just want them to get what suits their defense, and it's not a reach of a draft pick.
Gotcha. That makes sense. Yeah, for sure. I like how you're cooking over there for sure. Vizzo Joe answers 15 mil, 6 years. I believe he's talking about Ben Johnson. So that sounds about right too. I think you were saying that earlier. Those numbers jive, I believe. Arizona Ron, hit that subscribe button, man, and bring some of that warm weather over to us. Trax needs that in his garage pronto. My feet are froze. Arizona Ron says the interior offensive line is more of a priority than left tackle. I agree. The Bears had no running back average over 4 yards per carry, and Swift only had 100-yard game. Wow, that's a lot to unpack, but I agree with you, Arizona. What say you, Chris?
I'd have to disagree.
You don't
Um,
think that the left tackles the I no, I'm saying the interior line is more important than the left tackle. I mean, you already said it yourself that we've got Braxton for another year, so potentially right now it's not the time to go get a left tackle, is it, or is it?
I, well, it depends on what you're focusing on. If
Okay.
it's the run game,
Yeah.
yes, the interior line is very important because you want to be able to gash the defense. But when it comes to that left tackle spot,
Yeah.
that is the spot that gets paid the big bucks because
Oh yeah.
you're protecting the backside of that quarterback. You don't have that quarterback because he gets hurt. It's hard to run the ball because everyone's gonna be in the box.
So
So as
are you
much as I
completely out? Have you checked out with Braxton then, or are you still got some hope for him yet, or what?
what I've seen from him these past 2 years, I'm not really sold.
Yeah.
So like I believe he hit on the right tackle. I believe one of the holes is the left tackle. I mean, he can if he if we could turn it around with him, hey, all power to you. I have no problem with it. I'm all systems go. But what's on film these past 2 years ain't really been that good for him.
Yeah, I hear you. Listen, as far in terms of me being a former left tackle, I look, he can't anchor down. He's got some placement with his hands issues. He doesn't really have strength in his legs. I see all that, but I still see, I think in terms of getting an actual, I mean, look at who's he had for a mentor, who's he had for an NFL offensive line coach, who's he had for a coordinator. I think all these things considered, and if we go out and get a veteran guard in free agency, left guard particular, and he can help, Braxton. I mean, obviously, we can't not give him one more year. He's still under contract. And I think in terms of that, it's kind of important. And with all the needs at left guard, center, and right guard, you almost have to have that built in and say, okay, Braxton, you have one more year left on your contract. In terms of the draft, maybe next year is better on the outside than inside. From what I heard, everything considered, the inside is better for the offensive line as far as quality goes than the outside. So I don't know. It's just kind of like a most need right now. You know what I'm trying to say? And I don't think Braxton is terrible. I mean, with PFF and everything, he's had some good games too. Don't get me wrong, but he's not my favorite. But I think we could be a lot worse if that makes any sense. You know what I mean?
Okay, so
So
you're basing it off of like what needs the most attention. I get
yeah.
what you're saying. I get what you're
Yeah,
saying.
because we,
I'm
we
with
can't
I
get
get that.
all. I don't think we could get all three right now. Now, if we could get and draft. Now, listen, Amagaji's there, and obviously, Karan is a project. He's not fully developed yet. It might take 2 to 3 years to get him up to speed. Maybe he is the guy that comes in. I don't know. We'll see. It's a lot. It's a lot to unpack. We could do a whole nother show just about this, if you know what I'm saying. We got over 150 in the building now. Appreciate you guys, man. We finally hit that. Wow, that's a big milestone right there, buddy. That's huge. Um, Jamie brings up a good point. Jenkins was pace pick, not polls. Okay.
Yeah, that was my mistake. I when you asked about the Bulls draft pick, I brought up Jenkins. Yeah. Yeah, that was my bad.
No, you're good. You're good. You're good. Plank, Emiliano Brito, bear down. Listen, as an offensive lineman, if somebody fumbles the ball, I jump on it like it's a live grenade, and I don't point the finger that, oh, it's your fault, so you pick it up. You know what I mean? We act like it never happened. We act like it was part of the play. Listen, I was in a freaking building. I was in a classroom. We were breaking down what happened, what went bad. Okay. They My coach was drilling my quarterback and my running back for fumbling the football. And they were trying to place blame and try to make them go against each other as to who was responsible for the fumble. I got up, I got my butt up out of my seat, walked around right in front of my quarterback who was sitting down, and he was right in front of my head coach. And I said it was my fault. I did it. And he looked at me like I was on crack. He's like, how's the left tackle responsible for the fumble between the center, the freaking quarterback, and the running back? And I'm like, it was me, coach. It's my bad. And he's like, well, Hyatt, you got a lot of push-ups and a lot of laps. Guess what? I wasn't the only one doing the push-ups and the laps after that. But that's what it's all about with unit cohesion, man. That's what it's back to have your player six. And that's what we need in the building right now. So I think that's important, and I think that's what's going to be the culture changer when we start seeing that kind of stuff and helping, like you said earlier. If you're part of the problem on why he felt down, make sure you're there to pick him up. I love that.
Exactly.
Emiliano Brito, appreciate you, man. Hit that subscribe button. CD away 24. Thought this was Coach JB and Smitty for a second. Oh my. Dustin Jones, one of our co-hosts, he says, what's up, fellas? Bear down. I don't need to tell him to hit that like button. He already knows. Appreciate you for coming in here, Dustin. Plank's back. He's watching from work. Dustin Jones, bear down from Plank. CD away 24. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Appreciate you for viewing, brother. Whoever held Genty to his lowest rushing yard total in a game last season is the best defensive line. Hey, that's a good point. I like that, man. That's a good point.
I think that was Penn State. Yeah, it was Penn State in the playoff.
Was it? Hey,
yeah, he barely went over 100. I think he was
look at Penn State for defensive lineman.
Abdul Carter, but he didn't play that game though. Oh, it was I can't remember 33's name. They balled out. They had bodies on him every time he got the ball. It was crazy.
Wow. CDOA says he's a new sub, man. Thanks to the family, man. Thanks for joining the family, man. Thanks for joining our community. We appreciate you, man. We're not just surviving, we're thriving, baby. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Plank says, CDOA, welcome. Thanks, Plank. Let's see what else we got. I think we're almost at the end of the road. Just left Coach JB show. Can't take no more Smitty. This might be my new replacement. Hey, man, come on, baby. Early enough, bring all the fellas over. Bring all the fellas, bring all the ladies. Come on, CD. He said he's half asleep. Listen, if you started with us, you wouldn't be asleep at the end of the show. We've been hitting this whirl over 2 hours. This is unheard of. Our shows are like, how you doing? Keep it moving in and out, and occasionally we'll unpack. But this is a bright new future, a bright new day. A lot of us are excited. A lot of us are hopeful, and we are passionate, and we're energetic, and we're appreciated to have you, CDOA. He said, see the way. Hey, guys, that's it. With the pleasantries, join this conversation in the comments. Again, after we leave, make sure you hit the comments on YouTube, hit that like button, subscribe, because this isn't just about what's happening on the field. It's about us, the fans, fueling this new Bears era with our passion. This is Brandon Trex Hyatt, and this is Chris Brown signing off. But remember, this fire for the Bears never goes out. Bear down, Chicago.